You get stale.
Popcorn?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn. Popcorn. Stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
Pop.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. I'm your host, Steven, and with me as always is my co-host, Merry Christmas. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I knew I was forgetting something. Steve, it's Christmas Steve.
Very good.
Yeah.
You want to redo it or you give it that?
Nah, I gotta bite the bullet here.
All right. Well, Chris, we got some news.
Of course I'm a bloody doctor.
Okay.
Steve, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Chris, we got some news. I got one piece of news. You probably got a bunch, but
let's hear it.
Hot off the press. Superman trailer.
Oh.
Did you indulge? Did you partake?
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's a trailer. It's
Superman, he's flying. He's got a cape. Probably got some glasses as Clark Kent.
Yeah, he's got that broccoli hair as Clark Kent.
Yeah.
This year we talked about worst haircut ever committed to film. That award went to Rebecca Hall in Godzilla King Kong. But next year, the winner unequivocally will be Nathan Fillion in this one. Did you see his his bowl cut?
Is he in? He's in Superman?
Yeah, he's kind of a blink and you'll miss it, but he's got just this atrocious strawberry blonde bowl cut, and it looks awful. Just I mean, he'll probably be the comedic character, but horrible hair. Horrible. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he'll bring him back into style.
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. Not particularly looking forward to this one. It's just kind of there, but yeah, we'll see it. Doesn't move the needle for me. What news you got for me, Chris?
The Hunt for Gollum.
Ooh.
Writers want Viggo Mortensen to reprise his role as Aragorn in the film. They have reached out, and it will depend on how he feels about the script when it's finished. The plan is to use digital makeup for de-aging, not AI.
Okay. Yeah, I know he's got opinions and his thoughts, because they were like, hey, do you want to come back for The Hobbit? And he's like, nah, it doesn't make any sense to be in that story. But this one, it's like pretty much his story, if I recall. If the fan film, it would be to be believed.
I mean, I assume that's canon.
What do you think? A de-aged Viggo? Would that look good?
Give me Viggo. I haven't seen him in. What was his last film I seen? Green Book?
He was probably some Russian gangster, maybe, in a movie or something. I don't know.
Denzel Washington. His highest grossing film, Gladiator 2.
Really?
Yeah. With
interesting.
It was at 326 mil.
Wow.
I got his top 10 here. You want to throw out some names, see if you can get any of them?
Ooh, King Kong Ain't Got Nothing on Me, Training Day.
Nope, not even in the top 10, buddy.
Mr. Q? What's that Q?
That's
Johnny
John Q. Nope.
Oh, man. Why can't I think of... Oh, Remember the Titans? Is that on there?
Nope. You are terrible at this.
I guess so. Jeez. The Equalizer. 1, 2, or 3.
You got all 3, buddy.
Ooh, okay. What about the one where he's a pilot,
Nope. No flight.
What about the one where he's Malcolm X?
I can't remember what that one's called, but no.
Well, then I don't know, Chris.
Yeah, we're talking number 2, American Gangster, 269.
Oh, sure.
Number 3, Safe House, 208. Can't forget Philadelphia, 206. Pelican Brief, Inside Man, and his best movie, if you ask me, Deja Vu.
Oh, yes.
That was a fun movie. That was in the time where they loved doing those, like, triple take, distorted color.
Ultra saturated, yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised because obviously he's in a lot of movies, but he's only had 4 movies make over 200 mil. He's not a...
Wow. Not a box
hasn't really
office, yeah.
Sold out to the Marvels or the superheroes. He's no Samuel L. Jackson, that's for sure. My mother's favorite actor, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, I thought it was Dennis Quaid, but sure.
No, that's my father's.
Oh.
He turned 99. He's still kicking it, dancing. He's happy. He's jolly. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. The last movie I saw Dick Van Dyke in was Curious George. You ever see that one?
No, actually.
He voices David Cross's dad. It's a museum curator. It's a cute film.
Last I saw him was Night at the Museum. 3. I think he was in the third one.
Oh, wow. I only thought he was in the Foist, but that's
He was
cool.
in the first. I want to say he's dancing in the third, and my mom was hooting and hollering. Details for the upcoming Clayface film.
Ooh.
Will reportedly be a horror tragedy.
Nice.
Budget
I like it.
is 40 mil.
Okay.
Takes place in the DCU. Character won't be painted as a villain. Mike Flanagan will be set to direct. You know Mike?
Who the gypsy is Michael Flanagan?
He is a horror. He did the House on Hill House or something.
Oh.
And that
Did you see that on Netflix?
I think I did. I don't remember if I finished. But he
I
did
don't
some
remember
other
liking it.
vampire one. That one was pretty decent. He did Oracle, I think, with like a haunted mirror. He's a real horror nut, this man. So
Oh, sure.
hopefully this goes better than the last superhero, supervillain horror
Origin.
film. If
Yeah.
you know what I'm speaking. Which one are you?
I was thinking Morbius, no? That horror.
Oh, is that a horror? I've never seen it. I was
What were
thinking
you
that
thinking?
abysmal of a film with Arya and the people, New Mutants.
Oh, New Mutants.
Did you see that?
Sure. Oh, heavens no.
Now, wasn't that? That was just the worst movie you could ever see.
I bet.
Beyond the Spider-Verse will not release in 2025. They're taking a lot of tender, loving care.
A lot of tender loving care. Goodness gracious. 3 years now?
There should be a law. You can't split a movie in two unless you finished filming it, and you got to release it within a year.
Because they probably should do like a re-release of the second one so that we remember what's going on. But bloody,
Yeah.
I don't need, give me a break. I mean, props to him for wanting to perfect it, whatever, but like, just,
Come on.
come on.
Spy Kids has been added to the National Film Registry. Films that are added to the registry are seen to have cultural or historical importance and must be preserved for future generations.
Now, my first thought was, this is a good bit, but then you read it, so I was like, is this a bit or is this real?
No, it's real.
Listen,
you never heard of the National Film Registry?
I have indeed. I love Spy Kids. One of my
Yeah.
favorite movies growing up.
Mhm.
Super random, though.
Yeah.
What's the criteria to be placed in the...
Every year, they take up to 25 films. I think it has to be at least 10 years old. And
Okay.
it basically says cultural, historically, or aesthetically significant films.
For Steve Buscemi's acting alone should be in there. You know what I mean? You
He's
know what
not
I
in
mean.
the first one. This is Spy Kids 1.
Oh, just
He's
one?
in-
I thought it was the whole trilogy.
No,
Forgive me.
No. Yeah, you're
They
going to have to
applauded
wait
me.
a few years to get that Island of Lost Dreams.
We'll get a petition going for that. I think the second one's better than the first IMO.
Oh, yes. But you remember when that first Spy Kids came out? How jazzed were you to see that film?
Oh, I was so jazzed. My hands were moving in the jazzed positions. And
Yes.
oh, man. Me, oh, my. Yeah. Good stuff.
That was literally the coolest film as a
Mhm.
child. Like, I bet they took an audience, a room full of kids, and like, what is something that would be super cool in a movie? Like, well, let's have the people with thumbs as bodies, and we'll make them tortured. Like, it's not their will. And, we're going to make it so that my parents are secretly spies. There's these little things you can put in this microwave, and it'll turn into a Big Mac.
Mm.
You got this guy that's living with you, and you think it's your flesh and blood uncle, and it turns out it's just some random guy this whole time.
My favorite bit of that was when he's like, I'm not your uncle, and peels the mustache off. Like, that's going to be a huge disguise.
Yeah,
Like-
what?
Yeah.
And then you
Great
have the
movie.
actual uncle is Machete,
Mm-hmm.
who is in the same universe as Machete, who is just
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
just a bloody, violent murderer.
Significant indeed.
Well
yeah.
deserved.
Good job, Robert.
Christopher Nolan. Or, sorry, should I say Sir Christopher Nolan?
Ooh, indubitably.
He's a
He was
sir
knighted.
now. He's had the change.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. So,
Knighted
congrats.
by King Charles himself, no?
Sure, I'll take it. Whatever you say.
Yeah. Glen's Corner, where I'm sitting in the corner looking at nothing but a picture of Glen.
Glen Powell reacts to Timothy Chalamet picking Texas to beat Georgia on College game day.
Mm?
Quote, give us the trophy. Give him the Oscar.
Ooh.
Now, Timothy Chalamet, you know him.
Oh, sure, of Dune fame, of Interstellar fame.
Do you know what college game day is?
I assume it's a day where college has game.
So college football, Steve.
Mm.
Every Saturday during the season, they have game day and they pick the best game basically in ESPN. They go there and there's a segment where they bring on a celebrity.
Okay.
And the celebrity makes picks of like the most important game. Like, all right, who's going to win? Alabama or Texas? Oh, Alabama. And they just kind of go through. And they brought Chalamet. Now, would you think he's a sport nut? Do you think he really knows what he's talking about here, college football?
I mean, probably not.
Probably not, almost. But this man, he killed it because everyone was like, why are you bringing this guy on? You know, give me a Matthew McConaughey or like a Jack Nicholson, someone that, you know, watches sports. But he killed it. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm picking Ohio. You know, this quarterback, he had a mono in 97. He's got great stats here. Like, he knew everything and he was doing great. But then the big game, it was at Texas versus Georgia. And Glen Powell, he's from Texas. He's a big Texas fan. So he's like, hey, man, that was what he was basically getting at. Like, hey, good job, Timothy.
If I may, Chris, play devil's advocate as a somewhat non-sports enthusiast. So you're saying Timothy went to a game and he picked one of the winning teams?
Well, he picked a lot of them.
Oh, okay. So
it happens before the game. It's like, you know what? It's like a talk
bracket
show.
Like he fills out a bracket beforehand or no?
It's a table of 5 men and they're talking about all the slate of games. I feel like I'm talking to a 2-year-old here.
Oh, stop it.
Anyways, he was a big Texas fan. Texas ended up losing. I'm sorry for your loss, Glenn.
And here I thought Timmy was just 50-50 chance, you know, Texas would win, and everyone was hemming and hawing.
Well, you got that one wrong.
Listen, I got you.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got. But I do got a question, Steve. What you been watching?
Chris, I finished a TV series recommended by our good friend Preston, Shrinking on Apple TV. Ever hear of it? Harrison Ford? Yeah.
And the
Jason
guy from
Segel.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. It kind of scratches that Ted Lasso itch.
Ooh.
A hair and a pear, in my opinion. It's just about some people who aren't normally engaged with one another and they just become friends and everything's happy and go lucky. Main story revolves around Jason and his seagulls, and his wife died and he's a therapist and he's breaking rules because he gives some bad advice to his clients, and it's funny. There's some funny parts in there. I liked it quite a bit. So thanks for the recommendation, Preston, and I'd probably stand up, give that a couple few, maybe 3 or 4 minutes stand and know because I liked it.
Yeah. Sounds like something I'd like. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, yeah. What about yourself?
I didn't watch anything. I almost finished Arcane Season 1. I got like 20 minutes left, but then I still got Season 2. But I've been enjoying it. It's a good show.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing else. Kind of been real busy, I have.
Very good. Well, should we dive in horse head first into this War of the Rohirrim, Lord of the Rings? Do you want to just do full spoilers, or because it's been out for like a week, right?
Might as well.
So we're going to go over some basic plot details, recommendations, then we'll go some cons, and then some pros, finish on some high notes. But Chris, do you want to just give us like a 10-second summary of the plot for us?
It's 200 years before the it's been 10 seconds. Well, I thought the movie could have been better.
That's your summary.
Well, I missed the summer. I'm telling you my reaction here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's 200 years before Bilbo finds the ring. They're in Rohan. There's a guy, Helm. What's his name? Helm
Hammerhand.
Hammerhand?
Yeah, because he got a hammer for a hand. He punched that dude.
So why did he... Because it starts off, I'll admit, I was kind of dozing off, and I may have fell asleep for 5 to 10 minutes, but I woke up and he was fighting with the guy with the scratch on his face, and they kind of doing like it looked like a slap competition, you know, where you take turns. And that guy hit him the Scarface. I'll call him Scar. I don't know. Sure. He punched Hammerhead once, and then Hammerhead took his turn, punched him, clocked him, and he just died. And he's like, what? I barely touched him. And then his son is like, you'll pay for this. Don't you dare say his name.
Oh man. Yeah, that's basically it.
Why was they mad here?
Helm Hammerhand has a daughter. The other guy, he's another House of Rohan, and he's like, hey, come marry my son. And the daughter's like, nah, I'm not. I'm good.
Oh.
And then he's like, well, then I challenge you to hand-to-hand combat like a man.
The king?
Yeah, well, the king's
or the daughter. It's like, well, all right, I'll show you here.
No, the Helm Hammerhand's like, let's take this outside, because he was disrespecting. And Helm hits him with one punch, kills him with one hand. Hence the Hammerhand's name.
Sure.
That's how he gets his name. And then Wolf, the guy who died's son's like, you'll pay for this, bloody. I'll tell you a thing or two, you'll pay for this. And then it's kind of a civil war that happens. They go to Helm's Deep and they're shacked up there for a bit. And
she ends up finding an eagle and they live and kill Wolf and a bunch of Hammerhead dies and they call it Helm's Deep because his name was Helm something.
Yes.
And you'll never guess this. It's just such a shock. They say, oh, someone wanted to ask about the rings. It's a man. He has many names. It's a wizard. Oh, but his human name, Gandalf. That was the big shock. That was a shock, sure.
Yeah. Look, it's not as bad as people made it out to be. It's better than Rings of Power, worse than The Hobbit, I'd say.
Is it better than Craven?
Ask me that again at the end of this. How about that?
Ask me my answer.
Yeah, what do you think?
No. Craven was better.
Okay.
I agree with you. This one was fine. It's way too long. We'll get into cons, but
let's
I
dive
would
into
say
cons.
this is worse than all the Hobbits, if you ask me.
Yes.
I think this is the worst Lord of the Rings. It was a story that didn't really need to be told.
Yeah.
Who really cares about this? If you're watching Lord of the Rings and all the questions, none of them, I guarantee, was like, I wonder why they call it Helm's Deep. Like, that was basically the whole story of this.
Yeah, I got some cons if you'll indulge.
Yes.
I'm not particularly privy to the lore. Our friend of the show, Swapping Thoughts, he did a video on this. Go check him out on YouTube. But yeah, kind of like you said, it was like a story that nobody really asked for, not really engaging. It sounds mean, but it feels like fan fiction. And they took kind of parts of a story that was inconsequential to the main plot of Lord of the Rings, and they're like, what can we play around with here? And they played around, they dabbled, they got their hands dirty. Didn't really work for me. At times it felt kind of like kids playing with toys towards the beginning where the hero's like feeding the eagle. I could just see some kid like, oh, an eagle comes down, he eats the meat. And then there's a bit where she's like getting chased by an oliphant, and the kid could be like, what if an oliphant had to fight the Mines of Moria monster? He gets wrapped up or he gets eaten in one bite. And that kind of felt like, or it's like, all right, a lot of it's like just fan fiction-y and didn't work. I think they wanted to have like a women empowerment movie because it's a very women heavy, like women are in control. And not that that's a bad thing. I don't care. But you're sexist, Chris, first of all. And
why am I? Because I didn't like it?
Yeah. First of all, let's get that straight. I'm not, because I said it's fine.
I didn't say it was bad. I'm not booing it. I just said it's the worst of the franchise.
Well, there you go. Oh, it felt like when you're watching Game of Thrones and you're watching like your main plot, and then you got like a B or C plot that you're not as interested in. That's what it felt like. You're like, all right, like I know things are happening, but I'm not as interested. Let's head back to Arya and the Wolf, or something like that.
So I went and took a leak. Because it's a long movie. And I came back and she was like wearing the wedding dress. Did they say why is she wearing a wedding dress at the battle at the end?
There's an old crone living in Helm's Deep. Do you remember the old crone?
I remember her, the old witch.
Who likes to spread ghost stories just for fun. Apparently she's like, that dress belonged to a princess who was to be wed, but she never did. And they find it in a chest, and for some reason, Hera wears it.
Okay.
To kind of say, like, I'm not going to marry you, Wolf. And
he's like, why are you wearing a dress? Do you want to marry me or something?
Yeah, why are you wearing it if you don't want to marry me? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
They do like a solo because she's trying to distract so that people can sneak out. And they do a nice, 5 to 10 minute battle and talking, and it's probably 10 minutes. And then they're like, all right, attack. And then they run up to the little drawbridge that they made. And then the people decided, all right, now let's try catching it on fire. and blocking it, where I'm like, why didn't you do this 10 minutes ago? And then,
or yesterday even.
Yeah, like when it comes in, the first thing you do, oh, let me try and block this, but they just wait until they're actually coming up. That just kind of bugged me. Movie's too long. It's 2 hours and like 10 minutes. Like you said, there's like a lot of parts where I'm like, this is boring. I don't really care for it. And I'm not a huge, like, I'm fine with cartoons because most of the time, like, cartoons, they have a lot more action than you can have in a normal movie, because obviously it's a lot cheaper to do a cartoon battle and fight versus real. I just felt like they didn't really use that much. Like, it's War of Rohirrim, there's some fights, but it's not really that much action.
Yeah.
That was just a missed opportunity. Did you notice there's no fall damage in this movie?
Many times, yeah.
Jump off anything and you're fine.
To speak to that, the whole time I was thinking of this movie, I was like, man, this would be so much better if it were live action. Just because I couldn't get behind the animation. It's personal preference, but I don't particularly like it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was good.
Well, what happened was I feel like there's multiple studios working on it to get it done, and there's varying degrees of quality, and that's very obvious. Like, sometimes it'll be like nice and flowy, other times it's like that was
when
rough.
Saruman shows up, I thought it was literally like how it should have ended. Like, it looked like that, and I was like, wait a minute.
I think they had to do it in animation because they're like, what? How would you tell this? You can't do it live action. No studio would spend the money for it, but they wanted to make $1. I don't know if it will.
Well, it's like at 11 mil right now with a budget of 30 mil, I think I saw.
Speaking of the Saruman cameo, talk about pointless.
Yes.
That actually got me frustrated because he comes on screen and they're like, behold Saruman the White. And he's like, he says like 4 words. He's like, if you need assistance, just holla at you, boy.
Yeah.
And that's
I'll be here to help.
Yeah.
Well, even like the orcs, because it was in the trailer. What does Mordor want with rings? Like, that's basically the extent of the orcs. They fight them for like 30 seconds. Yeah. And I'm just like, anyone watching this knows like this is the same universe of Lord of the Rings. Like, you didn't even really need it. It's not like anyone's watching like, oh, that's how this is. That's like that other movie with the,
Yeah.
Oh, it's Gandalf. Gandalf in the ring. Okay. Like, who's that for?
Yeah, because the only people who are watching this are like fans of Lord of the Rings. No casual's just going to be like, let me go watch this spin-off cartoon movie of a franchise that I barely remember. I have in my notes, it plays like Rohan's greatest hits by a cover band that needs more practice. Because there's story beats and like even lines that harken back to the trilogy. And I had in my notes, I said, if I had a nickel for every time people of Rohan had to take refuge to Helm's Deep and the odds were stacked against them, they're running out of resources, the women and children start to escape out the back, and everyone is finally saved by a charge of Rohirrim from the east at the sunrise, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yeah, there's a lot of those where it's like, we've seen this. We've seen this before, done much better. I wanted to like it a lot, but I don't.
Yeah. Was that like a zombie elephant? Or just a beat up elephant?
Oh.
In the beginning, you know,
it looked
first
all
Oliphant they find.
Maybe it's just abused verbally and physically.
Because I could have. It seemed like it was some sort of like zombie hybrid something, and then the rest seemed normal. I was just wondering if I was missing something here.
Yeah, I don't know. Listeners, let us know.
That's all the cons I got. I got a couple pros, unless you got some more.
I'm done with cons. Yeah,
I like the Helm Hammerhead, as you call them.
Yeah.
I love a nice OP character that just like unrealistic strength in battle, because I like this storyline too. They think there's this wraith or demon or something that's just slowly picking off, because their people are held up in Helm's Deep. The villain Wolf, him and his crew, they're like right outside the gates and it's winter, so they're basically trying to build the thing. So they're out there preparing for siege here. And then just like every night, people are dying, and they're like, this wraith, this thing out here. And that turns out it's the king. He snuck out the old castle and just been running amok, killing
He's a madman.
He's a madman. His daughter accidentally comes out, and she gets seen by some orcs. And it's like 2 little orcs, and then this giant cave troll monster that's like 5 times the size of him or something. And he just fights it hand-to-hand combat,
like
kills
an absolute
the thing.
troglodyte.
Yeah, just no problem. She's like, you can't kill them one by one. And he's like, I could try. I'm like, well, what?
Yeah, let him try.
Yeah, I'm like, he's doing
Looks
pretty
like he
good.
is.
He's killed like hundreds of people, and their army, it's not like they have thousands. Like, they probably only have a couple hundred. He's probably taken out like 15% just by himself. And you got time. Might as well just let him keep doing it. But naturally, she blows their cover, and then he ends up dying anyways. But he takes out another like 50 with him, that day. I'm like, he probably could have just killed them all himself. But
oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the best part. I feel like maybe I'm just a dude who likes violent action, but the part where he's just outside the gate.
Oh, yeah.
Just
like backhanding
tearing
him
through him like butter.
Yeah.
And then he fights so much and so hard that he freezes to death right in front of the gate. And I'm like, that's pretty.
Yeah.
The manly urge to die in the frozen tundra, beating people to death.
They're outside the gate, and they have like all the people with the actual mechanism trying to open the gate, and they're not strong enough because it's kind of frozen. And what does he do? He just opens it up with his bare hands. Oh, you go through, I'll take care of the rest. And I like a nice OP person, and like that was cool. I wish there was more of that throughout.
Yeah,
that's kind of
not only more, but I wish it was live action, because there's some cool camera movements, and he's John Wickenham, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, this would be really cool if it were live action. I could watch it again.
I like that camera scene when they go into the forest and it's just like painting around.
They're in the forest.
She's getting chased by that Oliphant.
And
yes. They're like, oh, do they know what's in there? And then it just pans around. It's just like moving for like a good 10 seconds. It was just something different. I was like, that's kind of fun. You don't really see that. You kind of made fun of it. I thought that little monster, Loch Ness monster, was kind of fun. He's
called the Watcher in the Water, Chris.
That's the same one from Mines of Moria?
I don't know. Maybe.
He just went on vacation or something and traveled, or
he waited till everyone was asleep and snuck out and went to the Mines of Moria.
Yeah. All right, I'll move here. But it was kind of fun to watch him just eat an elephant whole and this.
Sure.
Well, how about you? You got any pros here, Steve?
I like the music. The music was great. I don't know if Howard Shore's back.
Who's to say?
But I liked it. I really like the theme of Rohan. That's a great one. And it had shades of that, but also kind of different themes for Hera and Helm. And I liked it. And I also really like the detail that they went into. If you look at Edoras, it looks just like the movies, like it's painted, and there's very specific details, even down to like the chair that Helm sits on. And I was like, that matches the aesthetic of the movies really well. So I was like, that's good attention to detail. I really appreciate things like that. I think that's it. If you're a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, I mean, it's safe to say we are. I love me some Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Used to watch it all the time with my boys back home. I think there's things to like about this, but it just wasn't quite for me. And that's mostly due to the animation. I'm not a huge animation guy. What about you? Would you recommend this to people?
Probably stand up, give it a 2-minute clap. So
you gave Craven 3.
Yeah,
so
I think it's a step below Craven, if you ask me.
You're going to get some flack for that, I tell you. You're going to get some flack. People are going to find your old tweets.
Oh,
essentially. Say, look at this idiot.
Well, what are you giving it here?
Oh, boy. It comes down to...
You gave Craven 3 minutes as well, buddy, so think carefully here.
I think I'm an idiot, too. Because for me, it comes down to rewatchability. If I'm going to sit down with my wife and watch something, I would rather show her Craven, as much as that hurts my soul to say.
Yeah.
Because there's like fun things in Craven. You're like, my wife loves John Wick, so she'll probably eat up that action. Whereas if we were to watch War of the Rohirrim, she'd be like, I don't, and I don't want to, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. But that's, I'll probably give the same as you, TBH.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. There it is. Hold on. Let me wipe my face. I have egg on it anyway.
Oh, yes.
But that's all I got. Is that it, Chris?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, people. You can follow us if you want. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Bloody.
Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb.
Letterboxd. We have a Letterboxd. Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.
You forget about things like stale
Popcorn, stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Popcorn. I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you
so
drop
very
in.
nice.
I'll hold your hands, they're just
My
like
mother
ice.
will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
Father
hurry?
will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace
So really
roar.
I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
Well, maybe
hurry.
just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I
The
pour.
neighbors might think.
Baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in
No
this
cabs to be
drink?
had out there.
I wish I knew
Your
how
eyes are like
to
starlight
make
now.
a smell.
I'll take your hand. Your hair looks
I ought
swell.
to say no, sir.
Mind if I move in
At least
closer?
I'm gonna say that I tried.
What's the sense in hurting my
I
pride?
really can't stay.
Baby, don't hold out.
Baby,
It's cold
outside.
outside.
God bless us, everyone.